Alright, now on to another very exciting but challenging lesson. In this one, we're going to be working with the footage shot with two different cameras, and they couldn't be more apart when it comes to their color science. So we got Sony a6500 shooting in S-Log 2, and we got Canon C200 shooting in C-Log 3. So here's the game plan. I'm gonna go ahead and correct everything from Canon because that's my hero camera. Call it A-Cam, okay, in this situation. And then once everything is dialed in, color corrected and balanced, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna apply it to Sony and try to balance everything out between the two cameras. Got it? Let's just freaking go. So I'm gonna go in here, apply my node tree. This was never meant to be there, so I'm gonna delete these. And the node tree is applied. Now I'm gonna just grab all the shots and apply that node tree too. But now I'm gonna go in here to my Canon shots, and I'm just gonna do Canon C-Log 3 LUT. So we're gonna go under LUTs, come out, go to Canon LUTs and C-Log 3. So that's our LUT and it's looking proper. And now that we have that, what do we need to do? So, I mean, it's pretty well exposed, to be honest. I'm just gonna bring it all down a little bit, bring my gain down, put it somewhere around here. Give it a little bit more saturation to pop everything out. And you can see this white line right here. Everything in the middle is properly balanced. That's what it's telling you. So it is a well-balanced image. The one thing I'm not liking is how much magenta, like it just feels like it has. So I'm just gonna go into my temp and add a little bit more warmth and then pull out that magenta by adding green. So somewhere around here. I mean, that's starting to look nice. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna go to my other Canon shots and try to apply that, and then obviously we're gonna have to go in and fix it. So this one, it doesn't really come through, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Let's go right here and apply it so it does kind of come through, so that's kind of cool. We still have to adjust a few things, and I'm gonna go here and apply it, and it comes through and gives us a good base. Now let's go to the one in the car, and I'm already feeling like when it's like this, you know, it just looks super crummy and weird. I want that information back that it stole from me. This LUT stole a lot of information from me. I want that back. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna create a layer node, and I'm gonna go in here and do this. I'm gonna turn my highlights on, and I'm gonna grab everything that it stole from me, and I'm gonna go back and let's try a few different things. Okay, so the first thing I want to try is take our highlights here and just crank them all the way down, and then bring it back a little bit like that. And the second thing I want to do is take this I'm actually going to keep bringing my highlights down and then give it some contrast. So I'm just worrying about the outside for now, okay? I'm not worried about what's happening inside. So now what I want to do, there's a couple of different things that we can do. I mean, obviously we can roto that whole thing out, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be looking for an easy way out. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to go create a window, put it right here, and just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. See what I mean? It's seamless, and just look what we were able to brought back. And it really is seamless. Like, you can't tell unless you know it's there. And these are the tips that go a long way, guys. This is really important to preserve all your information. And now what I want to do is I gotta go in here and start fixing a few things. So I'm gonna lift my gamma up, bring my gain down, lift my gamma up, bring my gain down, bring my gain down a little bit, gamma up, lift down, and let's give it some color. And I'm gonna use my gamma to get us out of this weird color cast that's happening inside the car. So this is more realistic, but then I'm going to balance it out with my lift. So this is a lot better. And now what I want to do is I want to just create a window around him. Like, seriously, I just want to go pretty tight on him like that. Turn it around. And soften it quite a bit. And then just pull them out. So I mean, we did a lot in this shot, I'm gonna be honest, because if you look at where we started, how everything is sitting at the bottom and the top, like, we were able to stretch the middle part quite a bit. And for this lesson in shot matching, this is where I'm gonna leave it, but there's so much more that I can show you for in-car footage to really get your image to the next level. I actually wanna subtle, but it's doing something, so let's just leave that like that for now. Another thing that I can do is I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna show you one more thing. Okay, let's do this, make the screen a little bit smaller and make it go like that, and let's do a highlight and see what we're really affecting. We're affecting this area right here. And let me show you what I got going on. I'm gonna go in my shadows again and pull them out. And then I'm gonna do a contrast and pivot adjustment. I'm moving on. So now we're moving to this shot. I like everything but the sky. I feel like the sky just could be brought down, so I'm going to use my highlights and just pull those in a little bit. I'm going to lift my gamma, bring my lift down, bring my gain down somewhere around here. I'm gonna leave that like that for now. I'm gonna go here, poolside, same thing. Let's go in here, bring our highlights back, gamma up, lift down, gamma up, lift down, highlight, gain down, something like that. Much more can happen, much more will happen in the color grading section. I'm going to be using this for how to grade a music video, and then along with a bunch of other footage. But in this module, we're shot matching, we're parking it here, we're moving on. Now, look at this. So this is my base grade, my hero grade for Canon C200. Let's try to match it to that, okay? So I'm gonna start it off with applying Sony's LUT, and let's go to S-Log2. I shot it on S-Log2, and I believe it's this guy. So let's apply it. Doesn't look like it did much, but yeah, that is the right LUT. And let me apply it on these two. And this one. So now let's go back to that. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start off by using an offset and see what that does. Puts me right here, which is cool. I'm going to take my lift up like that. Keep it somewhere around here, give it some saturation so we can start seeing some colors. I'm going to pop open this shot next to it so we can see how far, how close we are, and we could not be farther away from reality. And this is what I was talking about with these cameras. They get crazy, and if you can learn to match these cameras, you can match anything in life. So everything is different, okay? Every single thing is different. So how do you attack it? You just try to stay calm and don't lose your brain. So that's how you attack it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my gamma and I'm looking at the trees right now, and I'm gonna start getting those colors in. So I'm adding warmth there, and I'm gonna take my lift and I'm gonna bring it down to balance everything on the low end. I'm gonna turn this off for now for 1 second so I can really see what the hell is going on. So it's starting to take some shape. I can see it. Still got long ways to go. It's starting to look better. I'm not gonna lie. So it's starting to look better. If I play it through, so it's coming together. The biggest thing that's really gonna sell the shot or the match is gonna be a couple of different things. So the sky. So I'm gonna go back in here. I'm gonna reset this. Go in here where it says skin, and this time we're going to be using it for our sky, and we're just going to pull it. We're just going to have to pull it. But you see how crummy that is because it's shot with Sony. It's crummy, man. Like, you can't avoid that. So I'm going to grab it like that. I'm going to come in here and just add a lot of blur. That's what you got to do when you have crummy footage. And then I'm going to go back to matching this guy. And come in here, and I'm gonna start with bringing my highlights down so we kind of get in the same ballpark. Then I'm just gonna take my gain and my gamma and I'm gonna start moving it in that direction. just look at it. Nothing will sell these shots more than getting the sky right, because then it's just too easy. We don't even have to worry about at this point the asphalt, although that is pretty different, so we're gonna have to take care of that too. But as long as you sell this, this is easy. So now what I want to do is I'm gonna go back in here, and I want to do a couple of things, okay? Because what I'm seeing is that the yellows in here are really kind of toned down. I'm gonna go in here because we don't want to touch our sky. What we want to do is we want to cool off the rest of the image. So I think that is doing the trick. That is doing the trick, minus the greens. So we got to pull the greens down. So I'm going to go under hue versus saturation, and I'm going to suck some saturation out of it. And I'm also going to go under hue versus hue, and I'm going to give it a little bit more burn like the other shot. So just look what's happening. So now we're really matching it. Because guys, come on, look at this. Let's make it full screen and play it through without. Okay, to like now grade it. So I mean, we pretty much did it. I'm gonna move on. That's it. We've done it. So that is shot match, Sony to Canon, two of the hardest cameras to match, and that was done effortlessly. Let's go into this and start just going through a couple of things. So I'm gonna bring my gain up, I'm gonna bring my lift up, I'm gonna take my gamma, bring it up, and then adjust it with my lift. Bring my lift down, gamma up, lift down. I'm gonna take my log and just kind of bring this whole thing down. I'm gonna give it some saturation, and I'm gonna take my gamma and move it toward that warmth, and then I'm gonna take my gain, I'm gonna take my lift and kind of honestly, when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at what's happening here, I mean, I still think that there's some crazy green stuff going on here that we can pull out, honestly, because we can see how lifted our greens are here. So what I can do is I can go under my global adjustment, and I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna go to my primaries right here. I'm gonna go to my lift green right here, and I'm gonna pull it down. Now I'm just gonna take my whole thing and I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna take my lift and I'm gonna bring it down. Now let's look at it. I want to do the same thing in my gain. I'm gonna pull the green down a little bit. So that's looking better. Now let's move on to this. Let me just match it to this guy and play it. I mean, my colors are looking, I feel like, a lot more natural here than there, to be honest. So I just want to go back and I just want to see what is really going on. I got to fix a few things because I don't like what's happening here. there's like a lot of blue and magenta sort of thing coming in. So I'm going to use my temperature and I'm just going to warm it up. Add some green. Let's raise our mids again and bring our lift down. And then, as always, now we know working with Sony's, we got to pull the just a little bit, take the edge off. So we got to pull the blue and the cyan a little bit. So I'm going to create another layer here. We're just going to do that. And I'm just going to give it a lot of. And let's go into temperature and just warm it up. Twist it a little bit, I guess. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. I genuinely don't know what was going on. I guess what we can do is start adding some warmth. So let's live in this one, in global adjustment actually. And let me start bringing in some of the warmth. And then I'm gonna balance it with my gamma. So I'm gonna use my shadows to kind of bring that information out of this, and then use my lift to bring it down. And let's get some of that blue out. So what I want to do is just use my lift and gamma. I mean, they're getting close, but they're not there. So I'm gonna go under hue versus hue, or hue versus saturation. I'm gonna pull my magenta out. I don't want any magenta there. Now I'm looking at my road and they're not matching. I mean, they're quite a bit off. So I'm just gonna take my gain and I'm gonna start bringing it back into that world like that. I mean, I chose this shot because I know it's gonna be hard as hell. So I wanted to challenge myself. I didn't know that it's gonna end up taking this long. Just right here, there's too much activity in here. So let me try something else. I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna do luminance versus saturation and try to pull that. So this is what's gonna happen. It's starting to work out a little bit. And what I want to do is, guys, again, the reason why we're running into so many issues is because we're not keying out everything. If we would have keyed out the skin, we didn't have to worry about pulling the stuff out of here and not out of his face. So some of that is, you know, stuff that I thought is going to make it easier, is actually adding more work, not less. So if I do this and just spread it out, then we're really focusing on the wheel and making everything else as it should be. Okay, so now let's move on to the next shot, and now it's looking better. If you got to take out the noise, obviously just go in here, and you got to go heavy with Sony, so I would just go somewhere around here. I'll go here, and all that gunk is gone that we had right there. Let's play it back. Alright, so this is where I'm gonna leave this. We can spend a lot of time perfecting it. This is where I'm gonna leave it. I mean, they're matching. They're pretty freaking close, because let's just do before and after. Okay, so big difference. Yep, so we've come a long way. Now I'm just gonna go to this shot and try to match it to that. So let's just pull both of these up. So now we are in our Sony, we're trying to match it to this. So the first thing I want to start by adding warmth and then adding some green. Giving it some saturation. Alright, it's starting to look pretty good. Maybe a little less saturation. Actually, you know what? I like the saturation in the leaves and everything, so I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to do hue versus saturation, and I'm going to pull it from his skin a little bit. I'm going to go back in here and just add a little bit more. Yeah, so let's play it through. So again, not every shot is as difficult as what we just worked with, because look at this, is matching pretty nicely. So that's looking pretty good. Moving on. Okay, so let's do our primary setup. Let me just look at these two. So I'm gonna lift them up, bring my gain down, bring my lift up, bring it down a little bit, lift my gamma, bring my lift down, and then let's adjust it. So I'm going to add some warmth in. I'm just looking at him and he starts to show a little bit, so I'm just going to add some saturation. So that's a good start, but now we know exactly what we need to do. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to grab the sky, and we can even just grab the pool as well in one go and give it a nice cushiony blur. And then let's go back to our other shot and match it and see what we have to do. Just really trying to get it in the ballpark and maybe pull the saturation back a little bit. You know what? I gotta be honest, I'm kind of liking what the Sony looks like now, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna grab the sky in here for this one as well. So let's qualify it. Select the sky. Blur it out, and now let's match these two. And you know what I'm gonna do is this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in here, and I'm actually gonna subtract this right here from the top. So that's okay if we can't really pull it clean, because it's gonna be super easy. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna create a shape, and we're only gonna affect the top, and I don't even think the camera moves that much, so we're gonna be fine. And let's come out of our highlights and match the two shots. And now if we look at the sky, and so let me just play it through from here. Let's give this shot a little bit more contrast. Okay, so for now, I'm happy with this. I'm just gonna give it this same treatment we created there and see if it works. And let's just play it through this sequence. So one thing that I'm noticing is I'm gonna match these two, pop them open, and I'm just looking at the ground right here, and there's a bit more magenta in there, so I'm just gonna take my highlights and move it over to that magenta, and it doesn't need to be much, and I think that fixes the water too. So that's it. Okay, we were able to do it. Let's open it up here and look it through. Looking really good. Got it pretty close as possible. We can still pull some saturation in the arm. Actually, you know what? Let's go do that. I mean, we've already spent a lot of time there. So let's just, why stop now? So if I go to these two and look at it, like all this, like there's a big difference in the saturation in these two. So I'm gonna go to my alright, so let's go back in there and look at it. So, you know, we can still play around with it and get it a little bit more on the magenta side, how the skin is here, but it's pretty close. And then these shots look really good, and this we were able to dial it in quite a bit. And again, the trick is if you can get the sky in the right ballpark, everything else kind of falls into place and your eye just buy what you're selling, you know. So let's play it through and check it out. turn the sound down. Don't look at this and just think that this is how I turn in my jobs. I mean, we still could have added noise reduction. We didn't even add vignettes. I wanted to keep it restricted to shot matching only and not get carried away. So in the next module, that's when we're going to work on the finesse and creating looks and all that other fun stuff. So there you have it, module 4, shot matching.